Hey everyone, Record Store Day 2022 is in the books. Did I get everything on my list? Stick around and we'll dive in. Alright, Record Store Day is in the books and I'm finally done shopping. I actually had to postpone filming this video a couple of days just because there's a little bit of a pickup snafu. So the shop I go to ever since the start of COVID started, they use kind of a menu system. So you check off on your menu, you make your list, they go into the store and pull the selections for you. And then that way they keep the crowds down. It's a little bit more orderly. In all honesty, I hope they never go back to the whole, everyone just kind of free-for-all inside the store, because this is just so much easier and you just mark things down. Only downside is they don't allow any in-store shopping until the line basically is reduced to nothing. So they open the doors at 8 a.m. and then they estimate at about 10 a.m. they open for normal shopping. So unfortunately, I decided to just go and pick up special releases that day. But as it turned out, when they were pulling the items that I wanted, there were a couple 7-inch records on the list, which I get home and I'm going through my bag and I'm like, oh, where are those 7-inch records? And I call the store and they know me there pretty well, and they're like, hey, yeah, we have your 7-inch. They're right here. You just, we still have them aside for you because we did pull them for you, and just come on back whenever you get a chance, and not a big deal. So I decided to wait until Monday morning, Monday afternoon lunch break, just ran over and picked them up, and then, and of course, did a little browsing on top of that. So show you what I got, and obviously at the end of this, let me know what you think. Obviously give this video a like, a thumbs up, and leave a comment on anything that maybe we picked up together, or anything on your own that you picked up as well. All right, first up is a 10-inch from the Lumineers, Bright Side bonus tracks. I haven't opened up all of my albums yet because I've only been able to do a little bit of listening so far, but this one was kind of cool. It is on a bit of a splatter, which is kind of neat. But that one, it's a few bonus tracks from their latest album, Bright Side, and I am a big fan of the Lumineers, so obviously looking forward to giving this one a spin very soon. This one I have listened to, the Proclaimers Sunshine on Leith 2LP Expanded Edition. It was about a year ago. I actually saw an original copy of this in the store. Thought about picking it up, but I just it wasn't even, the price wasn't bad or anything, and I just thought, well, I don't need it. And I'm kind of glad I waited. This version, it's got the original album on it, plus it's got a second LP with bonus tracks and some BBC sessions, and then a few live performances as well. This is a really cool album. I mean, obviously everybody knows their song I'm Gonna Be 500 Miles, which got a lot of radio airplay in the 90s and ended up on some movie soundtracks, and then of course was the single that got stuck in Marshall's Fierro on How I Met Your Mother. But there's some really cool songs on this as well. I always like the Cap in Hand, and then the closer on the album, Oh Gene. I listened to this album a lot in the 90s when I got it, and I just thought it was cool to pick this one up and listen to it. Sounds great. Glad I have it. Another one that I've listened to so far, Joni Mitchell, Blue Highlights. She's been doing a series of kind of archival releases. I think taking a cue a bit from Neil Young. Really nice, heavy tip-on jacket, heavyweight vinyl. It looks like it was cut by Bernie Grundman. So, it's just, her stuff has been very much top-notch on the vinyl archival reissues, and that's why I'm kind of, I know she's obviously was friendly with Neil Young, and I have a sense that she may have, her either her or her people have kind of like taken some cues from Neil, and they've done a really nice job with reissues. So those are just highlights from the album Blue. It sounds fantastic. One other one that I've listened to so far, Nico live at the Hacienda '83. This is a concert music that she performed at the Hacienda. Some of her tracks are from that she did with Velvet Underground. There's also a cover of The End by The Doors. Got to say, I was a little disappointed by this one. I was really looking forward to it, but it was kind of, it's almost like an audience recording. At the bottom, it says rough live recording, and that is not a lie. It is definitely a bit on the rough side. Her vocals, like the key to Nico is her vocals. It's almost like the instrumentation is an afterthought, and on this, it's just very muddled as you would expect from an audience recording, and it's just overpowered. Her vocals are almost overpowered by the instrumentation. So a little bit of a disappointment on that, but sometimes you just got to take a chance on something. And then the only other one that I've had a chance to listen to so far, Lou Reed, I'm So Free, the 1971 RCA demos. This is on just on Black Wax. Really cool. It's his first demos after leaving Velvet Underground. There are some VU songs on here that he kind of just takes a crack at. It's just Lou Reed and an acoustic guitar, and it's just a really beautiful demo session. If you can get your hands on this, if you like Lou Reed, I highly recommend this one. So go check it out. All right. Now we're going to get into the ones that I just have not had a chance to listen to yet. Some of these I haven't even opened yet. It was just on anything that's a gatefold. I don't think I've opened it yet, just because I like to keep the hype stickers. But the ones that aren't gatefolds, I've kind of cracked open and at least just checked them out. Nico and the Faction, Camera Obscura. This is her final studio album. Have not had a chance to listen to it yet. I think it's just on... Oh, it's on Blue Wax, actually. So, looks cool. Hopefully it sounds good. Big Velvet Underground fan, and I enjoy Nico, so we'll see how that is. I've been picking up for a few years now Rolling Stones Record Store Day reissues. I got Hot Rocks last year, so I decided to go for more Hot Rocks, Big Hits, and Phased Cookies. So we'll see how this is. It was a little bit on the pricey side. It's glow-in-the-dark vinyl. I thought I heard someone say that the pressing may not have been the best, so we'll see. But, as I said, I've been kind of picking up their stuff as it's been coming out the last few years, so, just kind of that kind of a completist on that one. Also on the Lou Reed side, have not opened this. It's a triple LP from the Bottom Line. Lou Reed and Chris Christopherson kind of performing together. Some obviously their own material. It just sounds fascinating. Lou and Chris Christopherson. It's two artists you wouldn't expect to do anything together, but why not? So we'll check that out. Peter Tosh, complete. Captured live, pressed on marble vinyl. I've streamed this. It's. I feel like this one came out like on CD years ago. I've streamed it periodically in the last few months. Once I heard it was coming out, but it's a really good performance. I've been picking up a lot of Peter's stuff recently. I just think he's totally underrated. Bob Marley. It always gets the attention from the Wailers, but I think Peter Tosh is right there toe to toe with Bob, and if you haven't giving him a chance. If you like Bob Marley, but you haven't really listened to Peter Tosh, definitely go ahead and start checking him out, because he's a really wonderful songwriter and a musician. A Celebration from U2. I am a huge U2 fan, so anytime U2 puts out a Record Store Day release, I buy it. I believe I have every U2 Record Store Day release. This is just a 12-inch single. It's got A Celebration, and then the studio outtake A Celebration on the A side, and then on the B side, Trash Trampoline and the Party Girl, the studio version, as well as a live version from 2015. So, as I said, U2 is instant buy for me, and that's just, I'm just going to get a U2 release no matter what. This one I'm looking forward to. I mean, I already have Belladonna by Stevie Nicks, so I wouldn't have, under normal circumstances, gotten this. But the second LP is it's all demos and outtakes and bonus tracks. So you got like Edge of 17 early take, demo of Belladonna. So it's just it's pretty much most of the songs from the original album, which is on the first LP remastered, and then they've got the bonus material on the second LP. So looking forward to checking this out. Huge Stevie Nicks fan. All right, another kind of concerty thing. The Replacements. We're the Replacements. Unsuitable for Airplay, the Lost KFAL concert. So this was recorded in Minneapolis on January 23rd, 1981. So this is very early Replacements material. This is another band where they've been putting out stuff for Record Store Day for several years now. And they've been doing a lot of archival releases recently. So that's another one where I've just been, every time they put out an archive release, I've been snapping it up. So went ahead and got that one. And then this one, it's just a kind of a compilation. I think it came out digitally not long after Dolores died from the Cranberries. But it's essentially a compilation. It's called Remembering Dolores. It's a collection of songs chosen by the band members, family, and other collaborators for the memories they evoke of Dolores. So, it's not just like the hit songs. It's some of the lesser known material, the deeper cuts from the Cranberries that are like fan favorites and things like that. But I think it's going to be a nice mix of her music from the Cranberries, and looking forward to listening to that, because I was a huge fan of the Cranberries in the 90s when they were coming out. And then lastly, on that day, another thing, I don't have all the Doors Record Store Day releases, because some of the ones they've put out are just straight up reissues, but I try to get some of the oddball things. So this is hear the progression of each song on LA Woman as it developed in the studio. So it's a 4 LP box set of basically all the songs off the LA Woman album, but it's kind of like just how they develop. So really, LA Woman is one of their best albums. I mean, I love the Doors, so I'm really excited to kind of listen to this. It's got some really 15-minute long. Side 7 is just a 15-minute cut of Been Down So Long. Side 4, 19-minute cut of LA Woman Part 1. I mean, that's just crazy. Side 1 of Side 1 LP 1, 23 minutes of The Changeling. I mean, that's just crazy. So kind of looking forward to listening to this. Might not be the type of thing you listen to all the time, but definitely something for fun here and there. So as I said, there were 2 singles which I had also had on my list. They pulled them for me, and then just in the craziness of Saturday, they did not leave the store to the outside table where we were checking out, and I just didn't notice it. So, but they had them aside for me still, which is kind of nice. I was able to get Foo Fighters. That 7-inch single of, it's called, Making a Fire, the Mark Ronson reversion, and then Chasing Birds by the Preservation Hall Jazz Band reversion. I'm a little, the whole description on this is a little confusing to me, so I'm not entirely sure if I understand this correctly, but I believe they basically just took Dave Grohl's vocals from the songs and then put new instrumentation and mixed them a little bit differently. So I don't think any of the other band members are on this other than Dave and his vocals. So just, I love picking up Foo Fighters stuff. I think I've got all the Foo Fighters Record Store Day releases that have ever come out, so it just kind of felt like a natural thing to pick up. And then the other one, this is one of those where you don't always need it, but you just kind of get it. Baseball theme from the Vince Guaraldi Trio. I'm a huge baseball fan, and I like to pick up baseball-themed records. I do have, it's kind of on like white baseball vinyl. I do have the full 12-inch album that came out a year ago. This was supposed to come out, I think, last year for one of the drops, like the July drop maybe, and it just got bumped out to the point where it didn't show up on Black Friday, and I thought, they probably just canceled it. But yeah, so got that one. And then, they had that aside for me, and I figured, well, I'm here, let me just see if they've got any other any other records that were in the used bin, because they obviously put out a ton of like just cool used records for Record Store Day, kind of like ones that they'll put aside for a while and then bust them out for the big day. And I can only imagine what was there and got bought up on Saturday, because the stuff that was still left behind in the used was crazy. Some things that I got, I ended up, first off, I did go through and I did pick up 2 additional Record Store releases. One is the Offspring's Greatest Hits. Originally, this was on my list. I was going to get it, and then I didn't feel like getting it, and focusing on some other things instead. And then when I was going through and it was still sitting in a bin, I'm like, sure, why not? And then the other one, which I think is kind of the hot release, so to speak, this year, Art Pepper Meets the Rhythm Section. I'm kind of like been diving more into jazz in the last year. A lot of people were talking about this. I'm not like such a huge jazz fan that I feel like I gotta gobble things up. It's like the Taylor Swift 7-inch. Like, I was at the front of the line, near the front of the line. I could have easily gotten a Taylor Swift 7-inch single, but I'm not a Taylor Swift fan. I'll leave that for the Swifties. And same with something like this. Like, I'm not the hugest jazz fan out there. I'm just kind of like getting into it, so I figured, I'm just gonna like leave something like this for that jazz fan, but maybe at some point I'll pick it up if I can get a copy of it at a decent price. I go back in, I'm flipping through their bins, and they still have a copy, so I'm like, everyone had their shot at it on Saturday. I'll go ahead and grab a copy. So I got that as well, and then I did get a few used records, kind of back into that Peter Tosh theme. Mystic Man, which I think was his 3rd album, and it was produced by the Rolling Stones, or produced by Peter Tosh, but it was released by the Rolling Stones record label. He obviously, I think it was like Keith Richards and Peter Tosh were pretty tight for a while, and I think Peter Tosh was actually like squatting in Keith Richards' Jamaican mansion, if I understand it right. But yeah, pick this one up. I've never seen this in the wild, or if I have, it's been a long, long time. And then another Peter Tosh. This was like late in the game for him. No Nuclear War. It was like a mid-'80s release. It was I think one of his last albums. 87. So that it might have actually been his last album while he was alive. But, you know, I saw that, and I've never heard any music off of it, but I figured I dig all of his music, so let me give it a shot. And then two other things, like, you know, this is kind of Midwest. I'm living in the Midwest now, so it's kind of like staples of the Midwest. Soul Asylum and The Horse They Rode In On. I don't recall if I've seen this. They haven't reissued it, as far as I can tell, or they haven't reissued in a long time. So that's just one of those quirky things that was out there, and I grabbed it. And then another one from Wisconsin, Violent Femmes, The Blind Leading the Naked. And this is one which it's really, like, you can find a lot of Violent Femmes in Wisconsin because people bought it, but you don't see all their albums. You see, like, their first couple all the time, but some of their, like, late 80s stuff, mid to late 80s stuff, you just don't see them out there very often. So it's just kind of a cool pickup. I've got most of their albums, so glad to pick that one up. But yeah, that's it for me. As I said, let me know what you got, and we'll be back with more videos soon. Take care.